Today I'll be making a Chinese dessert. Use sticky rice. Here is a bag of sticky rice flour, and this one is from Thailand, but you can find ones from Japan or from China. It doesn't really matter. And Chinese eat this dessert on Chinese New Year. So I actually wanted to make this 2 months ago, but doesn't really matter. We will need a scale and a bowl big enough for us to mix. We will need, I have a open one. We need 100 grams of sticky rice flour. It's a really fine flour and sticks really good. It has a totally different texture as normal flour, and it's powdery, really powdery. So we need 100 grams. Okay. Doesn't really matter if it's not so accurate. Put this aside. You can see it's really powdery, really fine. And then now we need to measure water. We will need 75 grams because it's a Chinese recipe, so everything is in gram. Here we just use mineral water. 75. Uh-oh. It's okay. A bit too much. And now we mixing the water in the flour, and we put in slowly. Okay. Try to mix it to in a shape of a dough. It's different from a normal flour. You can feel it when you're touching it. When you put in too much water, it just sticks. So you have to mixing it really well, and not putting too much water. I know some Japanese desserts also use sticky rice flour, like mochi. This is just a Chinese version. The ingredients are pretty similar. So this kind of flour, when it's dry, it doesn't stick really well. See, it breaks easily. So when you want to make a ball shape, it doesn't hold the shape really good. That's why we're gonna do the next step when we have a dough now. Okay. Set our scale, and then we will need about 20 grams of the sticky rice dough. So just taking a piece, see if it's 20 grams. A bit too much. Take away a bit. Okay, 23. It's okay. So we take this one, we shape it to a ball shape, and then we flatten it. This will be later as a medium to stick the rest of the dough together. And then we put this aside. So a big dough, and put this aside. Now we need to set our stove. And we need to boil the water. We don't need too much. All we want to do is to boil this small piece of sticky rice dough. You will see once it's boiled, it gets super soft and sticky. And then we will put this in the rest of the dough to mix it, to make it stick, to make the whole dough stick together. You can see the water start boiling really quickly. It doesn't take too long to boil this dough. We will test it later by just touching it. See if it's soft. Okay, let's put it in. It's a bit too hot. About 1 or 2 minutes. This dough floats up once it's cooked, so just take maybe 2 minutes. Can test it. I think still takes a bit longer. While it's cooking, I can show you the filling. Usually Chinese, you can get this kind of dessert in Chinese supermarkets, and you can get either this kind of red bean paste filling or sesame fillings. And today I'll be making a chocolate filling one. You'll get this kind of chocolate in a cube. It's easier to use. This is a bit too big for me, so I cut it half later. You can also put in nougat. You just cut it to small pieces. I'll show you later how to shape a rice ball. And here we can see it's cooked. And it floats in water. And it's hot, but when you touch it, it's soft. It's soft. And now we move this aside and get our rest of the dough. We can flatten it first and get our this cooked dough in, and then mix in. You can also make the sticky rice without this step, but it's just a lot harder to shape the dough because it breaks. Okay, have more dough. Now we will need to knead it like a bread. How we knead a bread. All we want to do is to completely mix the two different kind of dough together, so you can shape a ball easier. It takes a bit, so you have to be patient. It's just like kneading a bread dough. Sometimes if it's too much water in it, it gets really sticky. You can add a bit more flour, sticky rice flour in it to prevent it stick. It's okay. It's about 2 minutes too. I'll say once you mix it completely, the dough feels totally different. It stick together. We want to knead it until it's completely mixed together. It wouldn't happen if you we put a bit of flour on it first, but it doesn't really matter. So now we have a dough. We can leave this aside, and then we can prepare our filling. I'll wash my hands first. Here is chocolates, and we take, I think we can make about 10 rice balls. We take 5 of them. You can see how much we have later, but I'll cut it to half. The whole one is just too big for us. And I like my rice ball a bit smaller, but it's all up to you. Here we cut it roughly, and now we try to make it. How are we gonna make it first? Put it a bit flour on the chopping board so it doesn't get stick too much like before. Okay, and we take our dough here. We want to shape it to a long stick shape. Okay, and you can see it's just easier. Later we're going to cut it to pieces. Now we have our scale here. We will need about 10 grams of the dough each. And just try first if it's 10 grams. 12 is okay. So we cut about similar size. Yeah. So we know it's about 10 grams each. Doesn't have to be very accurate, but it's just nice when your rice balls all come out the same size. Okay, let's see how many we have here. Okay, and then show you how to do one rice ball. Get some flour on your hands so prevent the dough to stick on your hand. You take one, you roll it to a ball, and you press it flat, okay? And you put in one of the filling in, you close it around to middle, and you try to shape it to a ball shape again and roll it. I think it's good. And this one, and I'll make the rest. It's not that hard, just have to be patient, and sometimes if it comes out a bit, you have to just move the dough around. This dough is really easy to work around. Okay. You can see the size. It's not really big, but later once it's cooked, it gets bigger. So don't have to worry if they look really small to you. You can choose any kind of filling which is sweet. In some part of China, for example, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, south, mostly south part of China, they also make salty version of this rice ball. I like it sweet. And we have it for Chinese New Year because I think only because it's round. It means a family reunion. We have it in Chinese New Year. It means the family is together, always together. Now we have 5 of them. We can make the rest later. Now I can show you how to cook it. Once it starts boiling, we can put in our rice ball. The rice itself, the rice flour itself tastes a bit sweet, but it's really light flavor. So after you cook it, if you want it to be sweeter, you can put maybe some powdered sugar on top, or you put a bit sugar in the soup. You can choose to have it dry or in the soup. It's all up to you. So the water starts boiling, you can put in. Just drop them in. Try 5 of them first. This pre-made rice ball, you can also put them in the fridge or in the freezer, then last even longer. And when you want to eat them, you just take them out and boil them in boiling water. It takes about 3 minutes. The whole process really fast. And you can have a super tasty Chinese dessert. Just a little bit hot. When they start floating in the water, means they are cooked. And usually you have to turn off the heat to see if they're really floating. And if it's overdone, the flour actually expands and get really soggy and doesn't have the texture anymore. So 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, it's perfect. So the rice balls are ready. You can check them out. The outside looks really a bit fluffy to me, and getting a bit bigger and floating on top of the water. That means they're ready. And take them out. You can have them with the soup or without the soup. Here. And we can add a bit this kind of sugar syrup with actually flour inside. Not quite sure how they call it, this kind of flour, but you could actually see the flour pieces inside. It's just a sugar syrup. And we take maybe 1 spoon. Just to decorate our rice ball. Good. Yeah, good. Okay. Now it's time to test it. I'll cut one. Just show you the chocolate inside. See, it's totally melted inside. I think it's a perfect dessert or breakfast, or just have it once a year on Chinese New Year. So, bon appetit. Really sweet. I like the chocolate one. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please check out my YouTube channel and go to my blog for the complete recipe.